breathe. And let's just put aside the traffic that was on the way to work today. Let's just put aside all the text messages from your staff that's already incapable of even understanding where the paper's at for the copier because you're not there that day. Let's just put all that stuff aside and focus for a moment on why you're here and why you're taking 2 days of your life, which is arguably a very busy schedule where you've got a lot going on and a lot of demands and you're pulled in multiple directions. And why are you here for the next 2 days? What do you want to get out of it? Because the way I look at it is that we have a very limited amount of time to create an unlimited amount of possibilities for your business over the next quarter and beyond. And that's worthy of putting the phones on do not disturb, even putting them face down if you're like me and don't have the discipline to not look if it lights up anyway. I'm just going, okay, yeah, my staff can live without me for the next 90 minutes. Whatever's going on, nobody's going to die in the next 90 minutes. And just ignoring that, just being present and being with everyone. Because I think if we do that, what we'll start to do is really be able to hear a deeper level of message in these next 2 days. And by the way, there is a hidden message or a hidden theme in this mastermind that we have purposely built into every segment for the next 2 days. It is your job to see if you can identify what that hidden theme is. If you think you got it, either come up to myself or Dan, who are the only two people who know what that theme is, whisper in our ear, we'll let you know if you're on track or if you've still got some more listening to do. But there is a hidden theme involved in just about every single segment that we have here for the next 2 days. Having said that, let's go ahead and also give you an update. If you remember at the last mastermind, we had Dan talking about the ability to analyze data and create predictive analytics in your business. And we opened up and launched a new program called DB Diagnostics. We had it for limited people to get them onboarded. And thanks to the efforts of Emma, she's been working with a lot of y'all, getting all of your financial data into the DB Diagnostics tool so you have something that you can go to on a regular basis to check and see where you're at and also share with your staff where you're at as well. By the way, how many here by show of hands are using the DB Diagnostics already? We've got some people that are onboarded with it. Cool. We are now opening that up beyond our beta test, and we're opening up to everybody. So if you would like to be a part of DB Diagnostics, make sure sometime over the next 2 days you speak with Emma and ask her to get on the calendar so you can have her coach you and onboard you and get you up to speed with all of that. So you'll have a really powerful dashboard that will let you know moment by moment where your business is at on a financial level so you can make more intelligent decisions. Now, speaking of decisions, we have a fun game. Even though I just told you to put your phones away, there will be times when we're going to have you use them. Go ahead and break out your phones if you would now. Scan this QR code and just answer this quick, simple question for me if you would, please. If you're unfamiliar with how to do this, just go to your phone app, open it up, point it toward the QR code, and the thing will light up saying typeform.com. Click on that. You're going to get one question. There's only 2 answers possible. Just take it, read the question, answer the question, and then hit submit. And we will do a tally or a total here in just a minute. And if you all want, you can start refreshing that page. And then once we see all the phones down and the eyes looking up, we'll assume that the vote has been done. I'm wondering if the Snickers are from the thank you page or from the question. The thank you page. Okay, good. All right. This is good. You're starting to laugh at my jokes. They're not the ones that are coming out of my mouth, but at least the ones I've typed, we're getting some laughter on that one. Should we be playing like Jeopardy music or something? It's not that tough of a question. All right, looks like we've got the majority of votes are in. I think almost all the phones are down. There's only just a few remaining, no pressure. All right, let's go ahead and refresh that. Let's see what the results were on who Janet is most probable. All right, interesting. So we've got the majority of the room thinks that Linda is a bank teller active in the feminist movement. The minority felt that Linda was a bank teller. So that's interesting. And by the way, if you've already seen this question, you didn't have to do it, but some of you maybe have. This question was taken out of a book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. And if you've heard me recommend this book before and you've not yet read it, I'm going to keep mentioning this book probably at every mastermind because it's just that damn good. It's on my top 5 most favorite books of all time. It'll have you reevaluate how you make decisions in life. So the correct answer, by the way, was that Linda is a bank teller. Not that Linda is a bank teller active in the feminist movement. Yet why did the majority of us instinctively think that she was a bank teller? Nothing in the story said that she was active in the feminist movement. That was a complete hallucination on your part based upon the information that we gave you. And this really gets into what Daniel Kahneman refers to as thinking fast versus thinking slow, or system 1, system 2 thinking. System 1, or fast thinking, it's intuitive, it's quick, it's lazy, it doesn't like to do a lot of thought, so it just takes snap judgments and makes assumptions. System 2 thinking is more methodical. It's very hard to use system 2 thinking. If I were to ask you to multiply 24 times 17, your fast thinking can't do that. In fact, your fast thinking just says, it's not even worth trying to figure that out. I'll just keep listening to Topher talk. But your slow thinking will go, what is that? And you might even have to do it in your head or sit down and write it out, right? Because it's hard to come up with 17 times 24. Yeah, no worries, mate. Why is the answer correct? Why is Linda only a bank teller and not a bank teller? Because the question said, which one is most probable? And when you read the question, what is most probable, your system 1 fast thinking replaced the word probable with plausible. And I'll agree, it's probably more plausible that she's a bank teller active in the feminist movement, if she's a bank teller, right? But that wasn't the question. The question was, which is more probable? Now, why is this relevant? Why is this important here today? It's because as CEOs, we play in the game of probabilities, not in the game of plausibilities. And yet, if we don't slow down, if we don't engage our system 2 thinking, the slow thinking, we tend to make rash, snap decisions in what's best for our business, not on what's probable, but on what's plausible. Now you might sit there and go, yeah, but I'm pretty good on what's plausible. I would submit that if you've ever hit the jackpot and won because you guessed and predicted your business to do something based upon what's plausible, it's not because it was plausible, but it's because it was plausible and probable at the same time. Because things can be plausible and not probable, as in this case. There's no probable way that she would be more likely to be a bank teller in the feminist movement. Why? Because there's more women bank tellers than there are women bank tellers in the active feminist movement. That's just a mathematical fact. Not every single woman who is a bank teller is active in the feminist movement. So there's no probable way that that would have been the answer, but it's just too easy for us to go, up, quick, answer the question. These next 2 days is about slowing down. It's about saying, you know what, system 1 thinking, fast thinking, I appreciate you, we have a lot of fun together, let's just set that aside. And let's work a little harder over the next 2 days, and let's slow down our thinking, and let's reevaluate where we're at. And we're gonna have you do that in a very few moments when Dan comes up to the front of the room. We start doing our Q1 review. Because you don't want to do a Q1 review with fast thinking. You want to do it with slow thinking. You can go and take off that slide at this point in time. Thank you for your participation on that. Think about what's probable, not what's plausible in your business, and you'll be making more statistically accurate decisions. And that's what we're about at Dan Bradbury's. Having said that, I'm going to put down the clicker. I'm going to bring up the man of the hour, the guy who's created the CEO Mastermind. Please give a big round of applause for Dan Bradbury. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, so Simon was used to run a private equity group, had $750 million under management before he retired, and he came here and he was speaking about all things private equity and what he was doing. And I had a goal and aspiration, which is to upskill myself in the areas of investment and private equity. And I think the most probable way I could reason to upskill myself was to surround myself by people that play in that game, that play at a higher level. So I sought out Simon. We've become friends over time. He spoke here at CEO Mastermind, and then subsequently I've been working him for some time to get in on a deal. And today, this morning, in fact, he introduced me to a private equity group that sometimes also partners up with private investors when they do rounds of investment. He went, Dan, here's the best way to do it. These guys are already doing deals. They're doing 3 or 4 deals a year, and they often, to de-risk themselves, they bring private investors on board. I've done a handful of deals with these guys. I really like them. I'll see if I can get you in. He got me in, and this morning the money left my bank account as part of £8 million that's being invested into a software as a service company. So you're probably going to hear a lot about software as a service going forward in future CEO Masterminds. The point I'm making is this. In this room, there's 2 things. You've got the opportunity to learn from people significantly smarter than you in specific areas, Jay. There's a chance to who has the skills that you require or desire to up-level yourself, Mike. And the second aspect is you're only ever one conversation away from solving any problem that you've got, Stephen. There's somebody in this room, Georgia, that absolutely can connect you up. Could be your next joint venture partner, strategic alliance of some form. And that was just my mini brag. So I may not be bragging in 3 years' time. We'll see how it does. Deals always look their sexiest at the point when you sign up. So we'll see how it looks downstream. Thank you. Yeah. I think the most probable way to improve your business is to make sure that you are dialed in, Andy, with what's actually going on. So before we set the tone over the next 2 days and all the new things we're going to insert in or new ideas we're going to give you, I think the best place to start is review. Let's talk about what's actually going on inside of your business, because I am certain, Liam, that if you leave here with the same thoughts in which you started, your business isn't going to improve. So I'm interested, Tim, in looking differently at your business. So here's how I plan on doing that. If you flick on over, actually we'll start with page number 6. Actually, strike that. First of all, for the new people in the group, page number 5 is a high values idea page. This is a cheat sheet, if you will. So as we go through the sessions, if you get any real gems that you want to consolidate on one page, page 5 is the place to do that. But if you flick on over the page to page number 6, we've got 9 questions. You don't have to do all 9 questions, Alex, but we are going to give you now, let me think from a timing perspective, we're going to give you 7.5 minutes to jot down your answers. This is to prime the pump. Giles, on what happened in the last quarter. You could choose certain questions and dive deep, or you can light touch all of them. I'm interested in what's going on. Bring it to top of mind. What are the problems? Otherwise, Phil, we get distracted. We come in and we get hooked on one particular idea. Let's set the stage, Neil. Let's find out what's going on inside your business right now. Bring it top of mind. So, Mike, we can work on it over the next 2 days. So, the 7.5 minutes in silence, please. Just thinking time first. Then we'll discuss it with partners. So, 9 questions on page number 6. 7.5 minutes. Away we go. This is your chance to get stuck in. So what I'd like you to do in a moment is stand up, find yourself a partner. Make sure you introduce yourself, just in case they are not sure of what your name is. So make sure you introduce yourselves. And I want you just to share for 5 minutes conversation about any key takeaways from you in this last quarter. Key takeaways. Just share and discuss. 5 minutes. Stand up, find yourself a partner. 5 minutes, away you go.
Last year with a major influencer, I undercharged them. Massively undercharged them actually, because I thought it was going to take X amount of time.
All right, thank you, partner. Take a seat.
I was like, I'll do that again.
Yeah, we do have that very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, partner, and take a seat.
Excellent.
Okay, I'd love some shares. What's going on for you? Hello. What's going on for you this quarter? What lessons have you learned? Wins, celebrations? Don't flood me all at once.
I've got one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can always count, Lisa. There we go.
Especially a caffeine, Lisa. One of the biggest wins, biggest lessons, and most difficult decisions was to let go of a member of staff that I really liked as a human being. Great guy. Some people in this room know him. Really talented and super skilled, but such a shockingly bad fit for our company.
How so?
How so?
I'm aware that you're on camera, so to whatever degree you can elaborate.
How can I elaborate? So we've obviously got culture and core values. Anyone that knows me knows that we're strong on that. And the way in which we do things. And we're very structured, being a business that builds systems and processes. But to have somebody that's such a visionary and so high level performing in that area is very difficult to harness them within our systems and our standard operating procedures.
So how did that show up?
That showed up with, he would go down rabbit holes of developing tech and product, which would mean that we were late on the operational stuff that he was responsible for, which led to some very difficult conversations with clients, some of which are probably in this room. And although the tech that he was building, it wasn't documented properly because he was just like in creative mode with it. But brilliant guy, super personality, love him, super skilled. But the stress that it caused on the company, the stress that it caused for our clients, the work not being done, the backlog, and the cleanup that we've had to do since. And we're all skipping through our days now because we don't have that stress anymore.
Yes, because this human has left.
Sorry?
Because this human has left.
This human being has, yes, he left. It was a mutual consent. It was, we both knew it wasn't working. We were getting stressed with each other, but we really liked each other. So it was like,
mutual consent is code word for he jumped before he was pushed. just so you know. Right, okay, good. So what was the lesson? So you hired somebody that you thought would be a great fit. It didn't work. What's the lesson?
The lesson is hire for culture, not skill. Skill can be taught. You can upskill anyone and teach them stuff, and you cannot really teach culture. We put a development plan in. Red flags were coming up probably 6 months before I made the decision. And then I was like, no, development plan. Surely we can get him to fall into line because he's so great and we really want to keep him. And the whole decision probably cost me about 200 grand, I reckon.
And out of curiosity, how do you make up? So I agree with you, by the way. What makes you think it cost you that much money? What was the cost?
There was the cost of his wages, which was significant. He was on a significant amount of money for our business. The fact that when you hire an employee, you should be getting an ROI of at least 3 on them. That didn't happen. So it's not just the salary, it's the opportunity cost, right? Yeah.
It's the opportunity cost of what was lost because you didn't have the right...
Well, also the amount of time that I personally had to take doing the work that he was meant to do or sweeping up after him, which was then the opportunity cost of what I should have been doing or wasn't doing as a result. I mean, the whole, and the fact that our profits dropped by about 60% that year.
So I'm going to push you a bit harder, and I think this is relevant for everybody in this room. So you said hire for culture, not for skill, but like, what does that mean? What's really a lesson? Pragmatically, what does that mean? How would you do it differently? Or how will you do it differently going forward so you don't repeat this mistake?
Well, one of the things I do is not wait for 10 red flags, but start getting curious when 1 or 2 start cropping up. Also, it was not controversial or contentious when I hired this person, but there were a few people who were sour grapes, shall we say, around me hiring this person, which I just thought were bitchy comments that I was getting back because they had their nose put out of joint. And I think that not that I should have given it more weight, but I should have got more curious around that as well. And yeah, just not be running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. Stop, pause, listen, think, that kind of thing.
Good. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
You done now?
Very nice. Good warm up. Good. Somebody else? Tell me a lesson from this quarter or an achievement, a win. If not, I'm just going to throw this at somebody and somebody's going to catch it. Or not. It'll just hit you in the head. Okay. I'll throw it towards Mike. That was a good catch.
Has everybody noticed, by the way?
Branded.
Isn't that exciting?
Not really. So, Jacqueline, what's happened for you in the last quarter?
So we're seeing the results of our huge upgrade that we started doing sort of March, April last year.
Good.
We rolled out the scorecard in September. That was one of the initiatives we decided to do last year. Like all these things, it's a lot harder, a lot more involved than you think it's going to be. So yeah, so that was great because it's been fantastic. It now means that we've got data for every person who registers with us for the program.
Great. So you've done scorecards. So you're now getting data on the new leads that are coming through the
Well,
system.
they're not leads; they're actual clients. So
Okay.
once they come into us, they're clients.
Got it.
But now we've got, since September, we've now got data from over 1,000 women globally, and that's in 4 months.
Fantastic.
And it's 25 questions we ask. So we've got a huge amount of data. So that's going to be fantastic for what we can next roll out about, what we can sort of, our research that we can do. So it's not just a scorecard. That's the point one.
How is that helpful? What's the lesson learned, and how does that apply to other people here?
Everybody loves data. Everybody wants more data. And we've now got data. And for example, I was just telling Mike here that a client of ours said last week that she was looking for a higher level version of what we do. We do mid-level career professionals, and she's looking higher level, and she'd gone to Oxford, Harvard, or it's a huge insurance company, gone to Oxford, Harvard, blah, blah, to try and do it, and nothing stacked up compared to what we do, which was a major to Harvard and Oxford from me. I was like, yes, because they're huge amounts of research. What they don't have is timely, and what they don't have is the global spread that we have, and what we have. So the data is really, really key to get. So we're also going to get the end data when they finish as well to compare the like with like. So we're going to end up having over 3,000 data points every year. It's massive.
Love it. And that's for everybody here, right? Data. And clearly in the theme of this mastermind and in the best kept secret in the next session, we're going to be talking a lot about data and how to use that data and algorithms. I think, parenthetical comment, I was at the home building show this weekend because I'm toying with the idea of building a house. Apparently I'm a glutton for punishment. And when I registered for the ticket, they asked 1,000 questions. They asked, okay, effectively, when are you looking to build? Do you already have the site? What's your budget? What stage are you at? What are you looking for the most help with? And as I was checking off these boxes, I was just like, this is perfect. Because actually, I'm just at the very beginning. I'm just considering the idea. Okay, I'm just considering the idea. So I only need stuff that's relevant for me to consider the idea, which is like architects, planning consultants, that stage of things. I don't need to yet be looking at underfloor heating. I'm always thinking about that, Mike. So I don't.
It is the best.
It is the best. And I don't need to look at the construction specifically yet. So all of a sudden that data allows them to target me heavily in follow-up. And it's also wanted. I want the bits that I want. And I don't want to be bombarded with crap that I don't need yet.
But it also shows you the steps that you need to go through that you might not have considered before.
Oh, correct. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, also, pre-frames me or pre-sells me on what some of the things that I might not be aware of. Absolutely. Good point.
Right, I've got to jump in and point out something, by the way. This shows you the perfect example of how customers buy before they think they've bought, because he's bragging about how he's just considering buying it. Just to let you know, he already drove me past the property yesterday. He showed me
Where he's so sold on building a home, it's happening. He just hasn't acknowledged it yet, right? The signals are there. They're all there.
Anyway, moving on. So,
Well, actually, I built a house in 2007. It's a fantastic idea. Definitely do it. Definitely do it.
okay.
Can't recommend it highly enough.
I won't
brilliant
just
experience.
turn this into a mastermind for me. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
Right,
Dan.
good.
Yeah, that's a
Very
much
good.
better idea.
So back to lessons for this quarter.
So it's all about upgrading. So we're now seeing, I said, the fruits of our labour, and now we're on phase 2 of that data. It's like, okay, now what we're doing with the data. So we're getting it all analysed. We're trying to find, back to Lisa's point about getting the right people, and we're trying to find somebody who can send off the data to get somebody else to look at it, because very, very conscious that we're looking at it with confirmation bias.
Yes.
So now it's like, okay, who do we go to that will be able to look at the data and analyse it and come out with something really interesting that we may have missed?
Good. I love that.
And so it's an ongoing, every time you get that next point, you're on the next leg of the journey, aren't you?
Yes.
So you've built the foundations, and that's the brickwork.
Yeah, we had a leg of this. Kevin and I were on a clarity break up in the Lake District at the end of last week, and one of us had analysed a data set and reached conclusions on not seeing anything new. And another one of the group, there's 3 of us up there, looked at the data set and came to a very different conclusion just because it was fresh eyes. So it's very helpful, and especially can be helpful if they've got a skill set, especially around here. It's not hard to find a student who's doing a degree in data analytics or something similar where they'll do
well,
the
I
analysis.
see, I've got a problem with that. I do know somebody very, very well who's got that as a student, but he's also my son. And I'm not quite sure, because he has been looking at so far, and he keeps on coming out with things I haven't seen, but he's doing an economics degree, and he's very highly good at the data and analytical.
Yes.
So, but I'm not sure whether I should be looking...
Yeah, I'm not, that raises an interesting dynamic.
Doesn't it?
Somebody else was telling me the story of how their son was lobbying them to what they should do with their mortgage, because they're a mortgage advisor, even though he's 19 and never bought a house before in his life, which I thought was quite amusing. Anyway, very good. Thank you. There you are.
Yeah, so...
First of all, tell us who you are, Alexis.
I'm Alexis. Hi. There you go. Problem solved. So for me, one of my biggest lessons learned, which is often the case for when I could perform this exercise, which is that often one of my biggest risks taken is causes one of my biggest wins. And
Hold on, I've just realised. Got totally distracted. Alexis, should do an acknowledgement. How many years are you in now for? Because Alexis just renewed for another year.
I don't know, I joined when I was born, wasn't it?
And you'll still be here when you die, Alexis. So,
that's the plan.
was it 2000? I think it was 2014. Might have been after that.
Yeah, it was either 14 or 15. So
very good. So
yeah.
8 or 9 years. One of the two. And no pressure. But Jacqueline, when did you first buy?
I think it was 2010.
Oh yeah, just a bit of catching up.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yes. So so for me, one of the biggest, I suppose, risks that we took, which turned out to be a smart decision, was that, I don't know, early January, I said to my business partner, Paddy, I said, we're going to do these sort of 2-3 month marketing campaigns in turn, which involves creating a bit of an ebook and then doing a series of podcast episodes around that topic and having lead magnets and so on around particular topics for one of my software businesses, for Air Manual, showing people, for example, we plan to do one around how to improve your cash flow using processes. And I said to him that I think AI is going to be one of those big things that it's going to be talked about, but I don't think it's just a fad. I think it's going to be properly business changing, and I think we need to help people understand how they can utilize it in their business through their processes. So a lot of back and forth.
Sure.
Before we decided, yeah, we're going to do it, and so we wrote the Business Leader's Guide to using AI in ChatGPT. We then did some podcast episodes around it. We did a variety of activity. And that has snowballed and worked really well. And it meant that, for example, I spoke on stage at Expert Empires last week in front of like 350, 400 people in the room. That went brilliantly. I've been booked to speak at various other events as well that wouldn't have otherwise happened. Like if it was just, oh yeah, come and speak to us about how to free up time, as valuable as it is, it's not zeitgeisty enough, and therefore it wouldn't have resulted in it. And so it was just it was a bit of a bet,
so
right?
what's the lesson that's applicable?
Yeah, the lesson is that you do have to make some bets, but it has to be around what's probable rather than plausible, right? You have to do a balance of probability and say, well, is it plausible that taking an AI angle might work? Yeah, but so's every other thing. Sure. Right? And so then it's like looking at balance of probability and whether based on what we're seeing and based on the interest that we're seeing, is it probable, and are we willing to make the investment? And also, it's not it's not all or nothing. You can start along that track. You can create the the draft of your ebook or whatever, and test it with some people to check that it's likely. And in the case of the Expert Empires thing, even pitching it directly to Nick and saying, "Hey, I was thinking this," yes. and judging his reaction before then moving forward. So. That was the lesson was, you have to take some of those bets, you have to take some of those risks, otherwise you don't get the big jumps.
Very good, I like it. Very good. One additional thought before we move on. A question that I've been reflecting on a lot recently is, so it's worded as question 9 here, things you need to stop doing altogether. And I we haven't even discussed this yet, but I was listening to a podcast the other day, so this will probably be a podcast in the future. It's about the power of quitting. And so it was a BBC interview, and I can't give credit, but there was a lady on there. She was called Anne. I forget her surname. And she was a decision strategist, which meant she was also a poker player, right? And she spoke about how people make decisions. And she was talking about a failed journey, not of her, of somebody else, some recent adventurers to Everest. And on this trip to Everest, I forget the exact numbers, but there were, this party of 4, and they were kind of struggling en route. And there was one of the people that was in this group was lifelong. He was like what do you call the people that do the weather, that are really into meteorologist? And he spent all his time analyzing mountains, and he was a real absolute data freak, and he'd be the kind of person that says when people should climb, when they shouldn't climb, when they should go back. And they got to an inflection point when they were really struggling, and the group decided to split. 2 people felt they were good to push for the summits, and 2 people decided not and to go back down the mountain. Well, you can guess what happened. The 2 people that went for the summit didn't make it. They died on the mountain. And they made a documentary about this failed attempt. And what Anne was commenting on this podcast, she was like, how ridiculous is this? Well, they were talking about these brave mountaineers who ultimately lost their lives because they made a poor decision. And she said, what we should be doing is celebrating the 2 that quit. Celebrating the 2 that went, you know what? Because one of the gentlemen who died, sadly, he was his last mountain of the 7 tallest peaks or something like that. And he'd climbed all of them, but this one. And this was his last one. And so she was pointing out that pull to push him over the edge was absolutely the wrong decision for him to have made. So she was pointing out the power in quitting. But society doesn't value quitting. We value persevering, even in this case where it costs somebody their life. So it occurred to me in business, what are you doing that's past its sell-by date? What's the strategy, Jensen, that no longer serves you? That it did serve you up to a certain point, but it's time to let go of that now. It's time to go, you know what? This needs to be dropped. Sometimes it's an employee who you want them to be great, but you know what? Wanting them to be able to perform in the role doesn't make them perform in that role. It could be you think a particular lead source is the right lead source. I don't know what it is, but for me...
Sticking with a bad plan?
Yeah, sticking with a bad plan, but sometimes you can celebrate quitting. It's contrarian, because sometimes, you know what, you need to persevere, and you're this close, and just a little bit more, because it always takes longer, Jacqueline, than you think, and people give up too soon. Absolutely, that can be true, but the key is the discernment versus perseverance, Holly, when you need to persevere, versus going, you know what, this is a bad plan, and I am going to die up here, right? And the opportunity cost is just too great, right? Don't die on your mountain. Anyway, that's my philosophical soapbox for the morning. So I'm actually going to do this in a slightly different order, Topher. It just occurred to me when I said this. I think it makes more sense this way around. Let's jump ahead to page number 9. Oh, my clicker's not working. Jump ahead to page number 9. I want us to do this BPM scorecard first. So for those guys that are new, there's a 40-question multiple choice yes/no questionnaire, a scorecard at danbradbury.com/score, and it ranks your business in each of 10 different areas and gives you dynamic feedback, Joanna, as to where you need to improve. So what I want us to do next, before we come on to the financials, which I think we should do third in the sequence going forward, Topher, I want us to take a minute now to go to danbradbury.com/score, do your BPM scorecard. That should take you approximately 5 minutes, so we'll give you slightly longer than that. and then we will discuss. How is your business doing? So this first segment is all about the review, Jay, of what's going on in your business right now and where we can improve. So take 5 minutes right now. Miri, go to danbradbury.com/score and answer the questions there. Away we go. Wrap up, find yourself a partner, and discuss your scores, Ben. Your BPM score, has it improved or gotten worse since last time? Find a partner, stand up, move around the room, away you go. If you don't have a partner, come down to the front. Thank your partners, take a seat. Good news, our best kept secret is imminently inbound. So we are very lucky to have definitely a world expert in AI joining us in the next session. So that will be coming right up. But in the meantime, tell me, lessons, distinctions about your BPM score. What's going on? Have you improved? Have you gone downhill? Stayed exactly where you are? Jay, well volunteered.
Cheers, Dan. 2% improvement.
Okay, all right. Inching out.
63 up to 65%. Some good stuff that we've worked on, especially the expenses side of stuff, like that's improved and that's made a tangible difference in the business.
Good.
Where we've cut expenses, where we're a bit bloated, and we haven't actually felt any effect of that. So that's been really positive.
Yes, you've got expenses, but there's not been any noticeable difference. You just had the saving.
Exactly.
Great. Love it.
Exactly. So that's been probably a really solid improvement. Area to improve on is still single points of failure. A lot of the revenue being generated in the company comes through me and Andy. It'd be nice to have revenue coming from other areas that weren't just dependent on me and Andy closing the deals. So that's something we're looking at.
All right. Very good. I like it. One more? Somebody else? I got half a hand, which put me off. So I'm just going to throw it at Simon.
Yeah, for us, I'd say it's gone up a bit, but I think that's probably because Chelsea's done it, and she's probably a bit more optimistic than perhaps me and Chris are. But then when me and Chris do it, we often end up with different scores anyway, and we argue over certain bits. So I'm not sure there's anything massively interesting that I can share from that, other than having different opinions is valuable.
Are you, even though the score might be different, are you in alignment over what areas need improvement?
Yes, I think so. And some decisions in our business that we're contemplating at the moment are going to massively impact some areas in a negative fashion, but improve other areas in a positive fashion.
Sounds
well,
cryptic.
It's always is cryptic.
Can you elaborate, or is it not appropriate?
We may well elaborate. Yeah, we might as well. Yeah, we've had an approach to buy one part of our business, which is probably our most regular cash flow, and most stable part.
But it's amazing that people always want to buy the best bits.
They do, but it might be the right time for us to actually consider selling that. But of course, that's then going to remove that regular income. So it's going to mean that we're going to have to go, okay, how are we going to deal with that? What else could we do that's going to replace that? And I suppose for us, it's looking at how long we've had that part of the business, and is it now just the time to sell? Is it just a matter of, well, you sell that part and then you just go and do something else, and you build it to a certain level and sell it?
So this is an interesting one. I'm going to throw open to the group. So periodically, you know you're doing something good when people approach you and want to buy some of it or all of it, right? Okay. How should Simon, Chelsea, Chris, how should they consider that decision? Because obviously we don't know the details and we're not going to ask them to get into the specifics, but how would you weigh up whether it's
just what the business is?
Yeah.
Just getting to know people.
What is the business, Simon?
Well, we've got a few businesses. Estate agency and letting agency is the main business, and someone wants to buy our lettings book. Right. So it's a really straightforward kind of business to some extent.
Yeah, so how might you weigh up a decision? How might you suggest Simon think about whether, like, should he sell this part off or not? How would you think that through? Whether you want to think it through your own filter, somebody approached by part of your business, or literally in Simon's case, he's told you they want to buy this part, they want to buy the lettings book. How might you weigh that up? Go for it, Charles.
How would you replace the lost profit that part of the business currently gives you?
Yes, because obviously the overall company's revenue and profitability would go down if you sell off that bit. But that's got to be juxtaposed against what?
The cash that you get for the sale.
Yeah, what's the sale price? Right? As in, I often say, none of my businesses are for sale. I'm happy with all of them. But every one of them, I'll sell it to you. It's a question of price and the opportunity cost. Alexis?
There's also the time.
The time.
Well, in terms of the money you get from it, but also presumably it frees up your time from that business as well, which again you can be using. So you kind of need to play around with how would I spend that time if it were freed up.
Yep, very good.
Yeah, we were just talking about focus, and although we've run some financials and looked at, well, okay, if we do this, 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 and this is going to leave us with this kind of profit at the end of it, if it goes as we plan. But then Chelsea's then talking more about strategy and how does it look, which is a different angle, because me and Chris have done most of the financial kind of thing, where Chelsea's coming in more of a strategic angle.
As in the business will have left over, what do we want from that? Because at the moment, I think we've just looked, will it be financially viable to have it without, and what would we do in terms of consolidation and getting that business looking good? But then also, what's the plan with it? Are we just saying that, yeah, it'll work, but in what way? Like, how do we want it to look?
Yeah, interesting times.
And also for us, there's different things we're thinking about. So for me, I'm thinking it could mean less time in the business for me, which is good. For Chelsea, obviously considerably younger, so.
And it's my whole department.
And it's your whole department, yeah. Forgot about that.
So we're debating whether or not you want to be sold. Yeah.
We will keep her though. We'll find something else for her to do. So yeah, so it just affects her more, both from a long-term position, whereas for us, short-term, it's probably better. While we're more positive about it, and Chelsea's less positive about it.
Interesting times. I think. Thank you. It's worthy of. It's worthy of reflection, and here's an argument I'll make to anybody in the room. Phil, if you can't make a good argument both ways, you haven't thought about it enough. See, I could speak to Simon's business from being in part of the board of advisors group, and argue both ways why they should sell it and why they shouldn't, strategically, why it would make sense in both directions, right? So it's worthy of some deep contemplation. Right, I'm getting a prompt that I need to move the hell on. So if we flick to the previous part of your workbook, I'm interested in what's going on in the numbers. So we're looking for trends. So this is on page number 7 in your workbook. So what I'd like you to do is either via the diagnostic tool, or we've put the table here if you'd like it. I'm curious, are you dialed in on your numbers? These are both personal numbers, but also, business numbers at a corporate level, but also, ladies, Kat, some personal numbers about your net assets, your time in the business, holidays, etc., because we're looking at you as the business owner. So, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that exercise. Away we go. Some suggestions, including the people on Zoom. Arthur, Barbara, any of you guys on Zoom? I'd love to hear your input as well. Or anybody in the room. What's going on from a financial trend point of view? Is the market tough? Is trading going well? Is it best quarter ever? Is trading down? Are profits down? Are you being squeezed by the cost of living crisis? What's going on? Because you're not looking at me, Alan, I'm going to throw the microphone at you.
Right.
All right, so what's going on? What's going on from a financial point of view, from a trend perspective?
Well, we've had a...
We'll use the music?
A bit of a funny year, because the MD went, so that's caused us a bit of issues.
Yeah, so you hired an MD with a view of removing yourself from the business.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was, for a while, you thought it might work, but ultimately it hasn't.
Yeah.
And he's gone, and you're back in, okay?
Yeah. So it was a little bit of a disaster, so that cost us a lot, and that has impacted on the profits a bit, what with his costs, which was significant.
Yeah, so the impact on the profits is from his cost, but were there any other things? And again, if it's not appropriate to share, don't, but what other impacts were there on the P&L other than his actual...
Well, we had another hire that was a disaster. There seems to be a pattern.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, was that other hire that was a disaster hired by him or hired by you?
It was hired by, well, it was hired by me because I knew the fella from the past, but it had changed in the 20 years since I'd known him.
Okay.
There was another hire that he hired that was just even worse.
It's like dominoes.
It was, yeah.
Is there a common lesson or takeaway from that?
Yeah, I'm going to take a lot more time when I'm hiring in future.
Okay, good. So is it simply that it was rushed, or is it that you didn't look at enough candidates? What's the, because you know, you could take a year to hire somebody that you would have previously taken a week to hire, and still hire the same shit person, I would figure.
Yeah, well, we had we paid for a headhunter to go and find a few candidates. It was down to two. One of them we offered the job. He then dropped the ball and walked away at the last minute. So we took the second best candidate, and I really shouldn't have taken the second best. I should have just gone back to market really and had a look again. Yeah,
I remember that. So headhunter whittled down candidates to two that were the final two, offered the person deemed to be the best candidate the job, Mike, and only for him to, I can't remember if he accepted it and then changed his mind, or whether he never accepted it. He accepted it and then changed his mind, didn't start, so then they dropped to the second choice, when in retrospect would have been better off going,
Yeah. He's put some changes in place, the new fella, that really ain't worked for me at all.
So when you hire next time, by the way, whenever you hire somebody, especially if you're hiring your replacements, you are likely to, they're going to likely do things that you don't like. So how will you handle that differently? Because sometimes that can be bad, they just make poor choices, but sometimes it can be good, like they're making improvements that you wouldn't have made.
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing is, with stuff that he was making, I couldn't see a benefit in it. But I thought, he knows, because I thought he knew better than me, because he had business degrees and he'd worked for this multi-mega company for years. So I thought, well, he obviously knows more than I do.
Yes.
And he didn't.
Yeah, so you, is it fair to say to a certain degree you abdicated, as in you kind of went, all right, you know, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and in hindsight you should have probed a bit deeper?
Yeah, I should. But he was always piping on about, you know.
The cash box a bit closer to the Zoomer show.
Oh, sorry. He was always moaning about not having the autonomy with the business.
Yes.
But I could see some of what he was doing was incorrect. So I always didn't let that autonomy go. And I'm quite happy that I didn't, to be fair.
Yes. I'm in favour of delegation, but only when it's to a competent person.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what do you think the lesson is for next time? Because, by the way, this isn't just about you, Alan, this is about everybody in here when they're hiring somebody senior to take away some of your workload.
Yeah, I mean, I need to build up my management team, because I've got a management team in place, but I just need to give them more autonomy individually in their own departments.
Yes, so more autonomy, but again, it only makes sense for them to be autonomous if they're proven competent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, good. It's not always black and white.
No.
Thank you. Any final thoughts, comments? That was me looking in your direction, Emma. No, it's fine, it's fine. No, we're all good, we're all good. One final thought on this, and I'll bring Topher back on up. You'll find in here there's some analytical strategic decisions, right? And they are, not often, but they can be black and white. The ones that are much more nebulous and more thorny, Joanna, are the people issues. And I think we've done skill days on recruitment specifically. I think hiring the right person is critical, but then your company will never outgrow the people in the company, right? So the senior people at the top need to be developed, because if the company's going like this, but the people aren't growing at as quick a rate, at some point it will topple over. You will hit critical mass, and that's why 3 months ago we launched the Management Mastermind. It is for your senior people to come in and get training and development. So if that's of relevance to you, please reach out to Kevin or Emma or Topher in a break, and we're happy to talk about that. But right now, We'll bring Topher back on.
All right, good job, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. We have, before we go on to break, oh, geez. Could you hand me my phone, please? Thank you, sir. Before we go to break, we've had ample time for our guests now to think about what they want to say when they introduce themselves to the group. So having said that, let's get to know our guests in the room here. We've got 3 right now, 4 if you include a team. Tim Jones, where's Tim? Tim, all right, you want to introduce yourself with LWD Building and Maintenance, is that right? Yeah. I've got a hot lead for you, by the way, on your business, I have a feeling. Go ahead.
I was thinking I've come to the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just had a construction company for, started it around 12 years ago. I'm a carpenter by trade, and I probably just had a bit of a tough 3 or 4 years between selling or buying a business partner out, and then obviously with COVID, a few staff left. So I downsized, and I just thought things are just starting to get back to where they should be. So I thought now's a good time to maybe spend a bit more time thinking about where we're going to go.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Catchbox? Yeah. I see Emma waving. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to the guest on the Zoom in a second. I'm like, oh, it was about the Catchbox. Sorry about that. Go ahead and keep talking. Yeah.
Start again?
Yeah. If you want to. Yeah.
Do you want me to say all that again?
No, it's fine.
No, you're fine.
Continue
Okay.
on, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean that was it really. I'm based. I guess before we came in today, I just popped in and I just solved a few equations on the board up there in my spare time.
Yes.
I used to work here as a janitor.
Big bonus for anybody who can figure out what any of that stuff means on the wall, right? Yeah. Awesome. Give him a big round of applause. Good job. Thanks for coming in. All right. We've got Stephen Edwards. Where's Stephen? There he is. All right. Good catch.
Yeah, my name's Stephen Edwards. I run an accounting business based in Cheltenham. So I have a team of around 12 in total. We've been going for 10 years. I've been in the mastermind previously. I've been invited along as a guest today, a contributing guest, actually.
Yeah. Accountants always take longer to make a decision. We get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so really, just really interested in the 2 days, particularly the AI side, because it's obviously very topical.
Yeah.
I want to see, how it can impact my business.
That's a technology which is going to completely reinvent your entire company.
Yeah.
For the better, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds
if
good.
you're prepared. Yeah. Well done. Give him a round of applause. All right. And do we have any Zoom guests, by the way? Yep, no problem. We'll move on here real quick, but if there is, we'll have them come on. We have Kat and Amy Jackson, though, in the room, so let me... Hi there. All right, throw it up. There we go. Good catch.
Hi. Hi. Do you want to do this? Oh, gosh. Yeah, we're Kat and Amy.
Which one's Kat? Which one's Amy?
I'm Amy. This is Kat.
Gotcha.
I'm the louder one. You'll learn.
All right.
And we've just become shareholders of a business called Paws Therapy Dogs, which is really exciting. We've got another couple of businesses as well, but we're here primarily with Paws.
Yeah.
We have launched an online program, a certification program that helps professionals in the clinical, therapeutic and educational sector to incorporate to train their pet dog to become a therapy dog and then provide animal-assisted therapy to their pupils, their clients, whoever it is. So it's really exciting. It's growing really quickly. And we just want to, I don't know, feed our brains with some great people. We need some better friends, is the bottom line. Everyone around us is employed.
Wait a minute, you have great friends because you work with dogs. They're the best friends you could ever have. They're just not that great at algorithms.
Exactly. Exactly, that is true. So we just want to feed our brains and get some ideas and meet great people.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you here. Give them a round of applause. And, ain't a party till something gets spilt. That's my theory. And Kat is probably a master at irony because your name is Kat and you own a company for dogs. Interesting. All right, cool. Was there any guests on Zoom? Yep, that's fine, not a problem. All right, wonderful. Okay, we are going to go into the next section real quickly here. We're going to try something new. We had the 2-second surveys at the last quarter, went over really well, got a lot of great feedback for you. We've amped it up and advanced it a little bit here. Let's see how this one works. We're trying a new strategy. Check your phones. Check your phones. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, there we go. So if you could take 2 seconds, fill out our survey for that last segment, that would be great. I've been informed that Ankur Modi is in the house. We're on his way. I'm not exactly sure, but he's in the cab or in the house. You guys are going to love the next segment. Ankur Modi is an You didn't get anything? Okay. Okay, so we got to get a couple. So Lisa, if we can make a note, Kevin, Lisa, her number needs to be adjusted inside the contact form. Chris needs also. So Lisa and Chris did not get the text message. You didn't get anything as well. All right. So did you give us your cell phone numbers? I'll tell you what, if you didn't, let's do this. Come see me at the break, and we'll make sure we get you listed into the contact detail correctly. But it could be a typo, could be something, or maybe you've unsubscribed from a text list or something. You're our heckler. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there. We knew it'd be a little sketchy in the first try. In fact, here, I'll tell you what, for those of you who didn't, let me just show you how prepared I am, Lisa. For those of you who are not getting your text message, go ahead and QR code that row. There we go. Go ahead and What the hell?
You hit the slide.
Oh, I didn't hit unskip. We had a backup. There's the backup. So there's the QR code for you if you didn't. But please do come up and see me so we can get you accurately into that so we can get your text message ready to go. And with that, we are ready to go for break a little bit early, which is great. Be back here at 11:30 sharp because we're going to have Ankur Modi in a fireside chat. This will be an opportunity for you to ask one of the world's leading authorities in artificial intelligence. To give you a quick tease, this guy has been recruited by Amazon Prime Entertainment, Meta, Facebook. He's currently with Meta in charge of their artificial intelligence department. Started off at Microsoft, left them, opened up his own AI company, was ranked the #1 AI company in Europe before he sold it. This guy, every time I sit down and I talk to this guy, my jaw just drops, and I sit there and I realize how much I have to learn. So you're going to love the interview with him. He'll be back here, and you'll have a chance to ask questions as well. Having said that, I think we are ready to go to break. We will also, hopefully, if we get these text messages over here, we'll be able to text you when it's time to come back in the room as well. Until then, go have a great break. Oh, and one last thing. Start thinking now about one big challenge in your business that you would like to have solved, or one big opportunity in your business that you would like to exploit for its maximum benefit possible. So either a challenge or an opportunity that you have faced in your business. Start giving that some thought, because after lunch, we're going to have you communicate to the group what that challenge or what that opportunity is. Have a great break. We'll see you guys at 11:30 sharp. Be back then. We'll see you in 20 minutes.